The Overwatch team answered some questions about the future of Stadium. Let's have a look. Today, Overwatch Stadium is celebrating its first full week since release, and it sure has been a ride. For some, a good ride. For others, a thundering roller coaster of pure despair. Yeah, that last group needs to take a chill pill. It hasn't been that bad. In any case, that ride ain't over yet. If anything, it's only going to get better. Team 4 has been very fast to react to all of the Stadium feedback in a way we have never seen before from the Overwatch development team, both in words and actions. They clearly are listening. To prove my point, yesterday they did a AMA over on the competitive Reddit. An AMA is Ask Me Anything. Just in case, you know. And they answered all kinds of questions, including what their plans are with this new feature. And it is looking good. First off, they did a lot of explanation on how they actually came to design some of the items and the powers. And as one would expect, it has been a very interesting but also challenging journey for the team. Had to explore the boundaries of the hero fantasy. Hope to find something interesting. At times something spectacular, but also things that allow you to lean into your own playstyle. After which, their task becomes to balance all of it so we don't throw a keyboard at our screens. Yeah, that might have happened. Once, maybe twice. They shared that balancing this game mode has them handling about 4 times the parameters that the normal competitive or quick play does. But they also get 4 times the tools to do so. That they try to make assessments on how certain items and upgrades are going to work, but that due to the overload and possible options, it is near impossible for them to know precisely what is going to happen, so that they need to keep a close eye on everything that we do, especially in these first weeks. But that also means that we can expect a lot of updates, hotfixes. Not just in the coming days or in the coming weeks, but basically throughout the full future of this new feature. I don't want to call it a game mode. It's more than a game mode. They know that some heroes need tuning. They also know that they missed the ball left and right when it comes to making interesting options. But they're working on that. While on this topic, they shared some insights on the popularity of heroes, the pick rates. On tank, Reinhardt is the most popular by a substantial margin. The others are closer together somewhere in the back. DPS the same can be said about Soldier 76. On support, Juno is the most popular, but the other ones are not too far behind. Except for Lucio. He is trailing, and that was quite surprising for them because he is actually performing really well. That probably has its reasons too. But all of this ranking might shift soon because they said they're going to roll out a new hotfix later this week that is going to tackle Juno, Soldier 76, and a few other heroes. As soon as I know more, I'll make a video about it. So make sure to subscribe. But it is clear that a lot of effort has gone and is still going into Stadium. And it is an effort that pays off on more than just one level. Together with the perks in the normal version of Overwatch, it has brought new life, a new sense of positivity within the Overwatch community that a lot of people said would never happen. And a normal Overwatch, as I call it, and Stadium are still very much linked. For one, a lot of the resources between those two teams are still shared. Some people are working on both, which also results in certain improvements and ideas kind of floating from one end to the other. And those ideas might include some perks that were based on Stadium powers. We'll see. But basically, that is kind of helping both sides of the game out. For instance, a very new feature for the main game that might make it into Stadium eventually, hero bans. Yeah, I'm personally not too fond of that idea, but look, it ain't going to happen anytime soon. It is going to happen when that roster is a lot bigger than it is today, which is going to take time. Because as we know, they're going to add new heroes every season, and while they haven't shared the exact number, my guess is still on 3. So that will take a while. There's a lot of heroes in Overwatch. They also confirmed that the plan right now is to add the new heroes, so the ones that are released in this season and season 18 and season 20, will be added to Stadium in the mid-season patch. So Freya is coming this mid-season, and mid-season 18, Aqua will be joining Stadium. And when it comes to the older heroes, they plan to add all of them to Stadium at some point. But they explained that the way they make the choice of who to add is not necessarily based on the other part of the game. It's not their performance in normal Overwatch that is going to dictate who is going to be added to Stadium. They prefer to look at Stadium and see what is missing, and then try to fit some puzzle pieces in there by adding all of the perks and the abilities, seeing who would fit well, which I think makes a lot of sense. Now, that being said, there are some players that are looking at Junkenstein's Lab, the event mode that we got for Halloween back in October, to make a half-educated guess on who might be joining next, since Farah and Zenyatta were in that game mode have not been released to Stadium yet. And that is maybe not too far-fetched. Look, while they did not straight out confirm it, it does look like that event was a test for Stadium. They wanted to see how we were going to react and how some of their ideas were going to pan out. They shared, for instance, that at that point, Stadium was indeed kind of using that random card thing that we saw in Junkenstein's lab. That was the state of Stadium at that point. And that over the last few months has evolved into the system that we have today, which in my opinion is most likely the better option. Look, I think the Junkenstein's lab was easier to get into because you had three options. It was quick and easy to read all of it and just make a choice at that point. But it added a really big random element to it that would eventually just got people to stop playing. It would have felt too arcadey. The solution they have today does require some upfront study work and, some reading and whatnot, but it adds a lot of depth to the system that will help to kind of keep Stadium interesting. Other than that, they also confirmed that making your own custom builds and saving them, sharing them is something that they want to do, which basically means in Blizzard language that they're working on it, but they don't want to share a release date. On the other hand, the toggle between third-person and first-person perspective on the fly, as I discussed in the previous video, that currently is not on the schedule, that is not on the planning, but they're not against the idea. They want to add some game modes that are exclusive to Stadium, and one that they have been working on but sadly did not make it to release is payload races. That sounds interesting. When it comes to maps, them bringing back Paris as a push map was a nice surprise. I like that. They explained that a lot of the assets that they used are fairly new, but they managed to capture that same atmosphere. And then they're looking into doing more of these maps so that we might see other Overwatch 1 old school maps return as a Stadium map at some point soon. So what I'm thinking is, well, there's only two options, Volskaya and Lunar Colony. The final topic they talked about, just as they signed off, was the matchmaking rating. A hot topic in the community for sure. Now, they confirmed yet again, as they do every 6 months, that the visual rank and your matchmaking rating are not the same number. We try to align them as much as possible, but in cases like this, where, Stadium is 1 week old, that is not going to be the case. It is going to take some time. Now, contrary to what we've heard before, the matchmaking rating is not based on the quick play matchmaking rating, but it actually is a blank slate. And it follows the same logic as competitive play, not quick play. And indeed, every season they're going to do a reset, but it is going to be a soft reset, so not a full reset. In other words, your matchups are going to get better over time, and when they do that seasonal reset, it is going to set you back a little bit, but not as drastically as starting anew like we have right now. I mean, it's going to take another few weeks at least before things start to level out. But look, all in all, interesting insights. I like how they are becoming more and more transparent and active with the community. It's exactly what the Overwatch community needed. Nice. But tell me, what Stadium exclusive game mode would you like to add? Let me know in the comments. For now, however, that was it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out. I also want to thank my patrons and YouTube members. You too can become a member over on patreon.com/theomnicpost and right here on YouTube to unlock exclusive rewards. If you have a few minutes left, maybe check out one of my other videos. But above all, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye bye.